Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? And welcome to day one of Project One. So, just quickly before we start, the purpose of this kind of channel is to kind of document my journey as I learn to code. I've been doing kind of like a lot of short kind of little coding challenges on TikTok, and that's been going really well. But now I kind of want to, as well as doing that, I kind of want to focus on more project based learning. So the idea of the channel is it's going to be a vlog style thing. I'm going to work on a different project every week or over every 2 weeks and kind of just vlog and just show you guys the progress kind of each and every day. And then I'll be pushing to GitHub so you guys can access the repository if you guys need to do so. All right, so I've started with just some basic boilerplate. We're linking, of course, to our CSS style sheet. We've set up a basic folder structure. So we've got our index.html. In the resources file, we have our CSS folder, our JS folder, and an images folder. And I think that's kind of all we're going to need for sort of this project, really. So we're going to start today by just kind of getting the structure of the site, laying it out. The idea is it's going to be quite simple. One page. We're going to have a nav, a hero, a showcase of projects, and a footer. Okay. And we're going to try and achieve this by using CSS Grid. And then obviously going forward, we'll add some JavaScript interactivity and so on. So what we're going to do first, we're going to create a div, and this is going to house kind of the rest of the divs on the page. So we're going to give it a class of container. Okay. Oh, rookie error, put container in the quotation marks. Cool. And then inside this container div, we're going to have every different aspect of our site. So we'll have the nav, the hero, the projects, the footer. Okay. So we need 1, 2, 6, 7 different divs. Okay. So and then we'll do a few more. Okay. And then one more after that. So okay. So this is going to be the basis of our kind of portfolio site. Okay. It's kind of the project everyone sort of starts with first. And it's exactly what we're going to do. So each one of these divs, we're going to have an ID to represent each section within the site. Okay. So the first one, we're going to have our ID of nav. Secondly, we're going to have our ID of our hero image. And then we're going to have our projects, right? So ID equals, and then we'll say project 1, keep it nice and simple. Div ID equals project 2. Again, put it in the quotation marks. 2. Gonna have another div with an ID of project 3. ID project 4. And then finally another ID, which is going to be our footer. And this is it. And this is going to be the basis of the whole kind of site. Okay, it's going to be quite simple, quite colourful, nothing too complicated. as you know, we're all still kind of learning how to do this and do it properly. So that's kind of it for the HTML. Actually, what we'll also do is we'll just add some text just so we can visually kind of see with colors and words where everything is and how everything's going. Project 1. 2. 3. Project 4. And then the file. Okay, so we can just kind of visually see what we're doing with the structure, which would be quite important as we're kind of going to move on to grid. So that's the whole kind of layout for the site. Okay, so let's just save this and go to our CSS file. Okay, so I've just done some basic styling, just border box, padding 0, margin 0. The first thing we're going to do is going to work on our container div. Okay, so we want the display to be grid. Okay, we want the height to be 100 viewport height, and then we're going to start sort of designing this grid. So if we look at the desktop site, we've got certain columns and rows, right? So we've got 4 rows. We've got the header, the hero image, the projects, the footer. If we look at the columns, we're going to go 4 across because we want the projects to be 4 across. Okay, so what we're going to do, firstly, going to call grid template columns. Okay, so these are the ones going across, and we want them to be even. So we'll just say 1FR, 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 1FR. Okay, I want them to be nice and even. Grid template rows will be a bit different. So obviously our navbar can be a bit smaller. Our hero image and projects probably want to be the same size, but we can change this later. And then again, footer probably a little bit smaller. Okay, so what we've done, we've taken this container div, we specified we want it to display grid, we said we want it to be the full height of the screen, and we set out the columns and the rows within that grid. Okay, and that's why it's quite useful. And it's quite easy to kind of lay things out. So we're then going to do something called grid template areas. Okay, and this is what I particularly like about this property. So we're going to come down, and in quotation marks, with words, we're literally going to specify where we want things. Okay, so nav, 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 and nav. We want it going across all 4 columns. The hero image as well, we probably want it going across all 4 columns. So hero and hero. The projects, we want them to have kind of 1 column each. So we'll just say project 1, project 2, project 3, and project 4. Oh, we don't want the space. Okay, and then of course we want our footer at the bottom, which again we just want going across all 4 columns. Okay, so let's save this and let's see how we're looking so far. So what we'll do, we'll use the live server and let's see what's going on. Okay, great. So as you can see now, we've kind of got these. We've got these sections, but they're kind of not laid out how we kind of expect them to be. And there's a reason for this. So let's come back and let's go. So each one of the divs we gave an ID, right? So we need to specify in CSS. So nav, we'll give it a background color, just so it's easier to visualize. Obviously this isn't design, it's just so we can see what's going on. Okay, and then we need to use grid area. Okay, so so that this div will correspond with what we've done here. Okay, and we need to do this with all of them. So if we come down, and now we've got our hero, and again we need to do the same thing. We'll give it a background color, just so again we can see what's going on. So we'll say, I don't know, pink, something like that. And again, we need to specify the grid area, and we're going to call it hero, so it corresponds with our grid template areas. Once we've done hero, we're on to our projects. So project 1, and again we'll give it that background color, and we'll say, what's that, brown, and then we give it the grid area, project 1, so that obviously it corresponds with our grid template areas in the container div. Okay, so then we go to project 2. Again, another background color, and we'll just say red, and again grid area, project 2. Okay, so I'm sure you guys are getting the idea. So project 3, again background color, and we'll say purple, and grid area, project 3. We'll put the semicolon, and we've got project 4, background color, let's say lime, grid area, and again project 4, and finally we've got our footer. I won't spell footer properly, that would help. And again, we'll give it a background color. And we'll say yellow. And again, we'll give it a grid area, so it corresponds to our grid template areas at the top. Okay. So now let's have a look. We should be expecting now, when we look at the live server, we should now be expecting to see each kind of div placed on the screen in relation to this. Okay, so let's run the live server. Let's see what happens, and we'll fix any problems if there are any. Okay, great. So as you can see now, we've got our nav bar, we've got our hero image in the pink, we've got 4 projects, well, potential projects that we could list here, or the content we could put there, and then we've got a footer at the bottom. Okay. What we can also do is we could, because they're very close together, so we could, let's come back up. What we could do, just to create a bit of gap, we can literally just specify gap, and we'll just 0.2 em. Okay, and let's see how that looks. Okay, so it hasn't really done so much. So, or do I need to put grid? I'm sure I can just put gap, but let's use grid gap. We'll make it a bit bigger, and we'll say 1 for now. Okay, let's see if that looks a little bit better. So, okay, it's a bit too much. It's not too bad actually. Yeah, no, it's a bit too much. So we'll come back and we'll make it 0.5. So let's have a look, see how it looks now. That's a bit better. Still probably a bit too big. Okay, let's go to 0.3. And let's see how that looks. Okay, that's a bit better. So, okay, guys. So what we've done, we've created our simple folder structure, and we've created a basic layout for our portfolio site. Okay. Um, so this is where we're going to leave it today. The only thing kind of left to do, is we need to commit it to our GitHub repo. So let's use git add dot. Great. Git commit -m. Oh, and we'll just say, no, what we'll say is layout completed. Okay, we'll push that. And then let me just check. I have to remember the command because I'm still quite new to using using git. Okay, so let me just check how that works. Git push. I think it's just git push origin main. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it is git push origin main. So let's try. Git push origin main, and let's see if that's worked. Okay, so let's come to our GitHub. Let's refresh. Layout complete. Brilliant. Okay, guys, so that's it for day one. Tomorrow we're going to look at making the grid more responsive. And then obviously start looking at colors, how to design it so it looks nice. And yeah, we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow for episode 2.